Yeah, so it's all changed then for England as Southgate calls time on his 8-year stint as manager, and attention now turns to who could replace him. Graham Potter is currently out of work. Lee Carsley is in charge of the under-21s. Eddie Howe is at Newcastle. They're three names very high up on the list, it seems, if you're judging reports. Toon fan Alan called talkSPORT yesterday and said it's too soon for Howe to leave for England.
To be honest, I think he's the best man for the job, but I just think it's a bit early for him. I think he loves it at Newcastle, and he's got a brand new contract that nobody knew nothing about till yesterday.
Yep.
He signed a big contract last year that was kept quiet. So I think he's committed to Newcastle, and I think he'll stay.
So that's what Alan, the Newcastle fan, had to say. Too soon for Howe? That was the question put forward, and that's what he's suggesting.
I hear what Alan's saying there, and he's right. He signs a new deal, or if he did sign a new deal last year, and I think Eddie's totally committed to Newcastle. However, if that phone call does come in, then I think it'd be really difficult for him to turn it down. It just would. It feels like a little bit of a change going on at Newcastle, doesn't it? From where it was like a couple of years ago when Eddie walked through the door and probably felt how the direction of the club was travelling in, still a very healthy one, but slightly different maybe to perhaps where it was back then. I don't know, but that's just the way it feels to me. Whether that would, and I think managers as well. Now, I think when they've had a couple of years in a post, and Eddie's reputation has only been enhanced, I think, by what he's done at Newcastle, then they're permanently on the move in this business. What Gareth did 8 years, and what the likes of Jurgen Klopp just did at Liverpool, and what Pep's doing, they're very rare managers that are able to go into clubs and get anything more than 18 months, 2 years. Most managers dream of that. It's rare. It's a rarity nowadays for managers to go anywhere and have 6, 8, 10 years. So Eddie, again, as I said, I think if his country come calling, I'm pretty sure he'll say yeah. I'm pretty sure he will, or he would like to. He would like to see if he would certainly want permission to speak to the FA, and then he'll make a judgment call on that.
Yeah, well, let's speak to someone who knows Eddie Howe better than most. Dan Gosling played under him at Bournemouth a whopping 174 times, and delighted to say Dan joins us now. Dan, good morning. How you doing?
Morning, Dan.
Morning. I'm very well, thank you.
Great to have you with us this morning. So Eddie Howe, it seems it is for a lot of people as the front runner for this job. Do you feel as though he would be the perfect contender to take over from Southgate?
First of all, I'm not surprised that he's one of the favourites. I think the last few years there's been rumours that he's on the list, and he's an FA type of guy. Me knowing him, yes, it's a dream for sure. I think it's everyone's manager's dream, coach's dream, is to manage a country. Is it too early? That's the question. I think, and I believe that he's ready for it. It's just whether he wants to take it. And Newcastle is such an attractive job right now, and such good things are happening up there. It's really, really difficult one.
Yeah. What's his biggest strengths, Dan, for you, Eddie? Is it on the training ground? Is it man management? What does he particularly excel at?
He has a great aura off the pitch, but for me, on the grass is where he loves it. And on the grass, he just comes into his own. The detail and the coaching ability is just really, really high level. And with those England players, I can only imagine what he can do.
So just to give us a little bit more insight into Eddie Howe, the manager then, and that sort of coaching that he does on the grass like you're talking about, and if he was to become the England manager, how he could get the best out of the England team.
I mean, the energy that we have in the side now, looking at the pace down the sides and the way he set our Bournemouth team up, we were very much using the sides, overlapping, underlapping fullbacks. He's gone to Newcastle now, and he's just took that onto another level. I mean, the crowd certainly help up there, and all Newcastle fans want is playing on the front foot, and he certainly does that. It's Anthony Gordon, who he knows very well now, who's just part of the England squad. He'll be a big player under him. I look at all the young players, Phil Foden's, the Jude Bellingham's, Cole Palmer's. The list is endless, and just the way he improves players And if you're looking at the young guys and even the younger generation coming through, so I'm looking at some of the 21s, is Rico Lewis, Noni Madueke from Chelsea, Archie Gray, Alex Scott, those types of guys are the next generation. I think Eddie, with his coaching ability, can just take all these players onto new levels and new heights. And I think England need a front-footed manager now. I think that's the only way you're going to get over that final hurdle.
Yeah. And making those big calls as well, Dan, making those big decisions, key decisions on players, whether or not, you don't have to say they're completely finished, but making those decisions when it seems quite obvious that they need to be made.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a tough one. I'm looking at the Harry Kane situation, and I think the whole nation knows he wasn't quite fit, but leaving Harry Kane out in a final, it's a very brave man to do that.
Tough call, isn't it? It's a tough one, that. It is.
It's really tough. And I think Gareth was kind of going to get the hard yards, like either whether he did or didn't. And that's just fans for you, really. I mean, some of the subs he made, they worked brilliantly. But if the Ollie Watkins come on and didn't score, then everyone looks at the guy who should have kept Kane on, maybe. So stick or twist, it's a tough one.
I can see you're wearing your Watford training kit because you're now working there as a coach. So is there anything that you might have learned from Eddie, maybe even though you're subconsciously you weren't aware of, but if you think now, you think that's what Eddie sort of instilled in me that you're bringing into your coaching career now?
I think the biggest one is work ethic. He was first in, last out. He was reviewing training, reviewing games. Every away game, on the coach back, he's got the game on straight away. And he's clipping it and he's doing individual reviews. And then on Monday, it's all done for every player. So to go in and have a word with him, 20 minutes, whatever it may be. And that's the detail and the intensity. And he's done that for years now. So that's a big thing, the work ethic. I think the coaching side will come in time. But it's just learning, constantly learning. And it's a completely different to a player.
And you're Watford under 21s, is that right? How's it going?
Under 21s, yeah, really good. We are just at Casbury Park this morning, so we are doing some hill runs this morning for the lads. Yeah, third week of pre-season. When I look at that, I don't miss it, but yeah, I do miss playing a lot. But when I look at pre-season, it's not too bad when I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah, and is that all? Dan, did you always have this in mind? Did you always have aspirations to stay in the game?
Yeah. Football is my life. Probably from the age of 27, 28, I started sort of jotting down a lot of sessions from managers, and Eddie was a big influence. Just the way he managed it day to day, and the different types of sessions. They were fun, enjoyable, but intense. That's the biggest words that I carry from Eddie Howe. The intensity every day, and the drive and the willingness to learn. He wants to coach, and he wants to coach whether you're the third choice striker or the first choice striker. He will take the same time with every single player. And that for me is a key attribute to how I want to be.
Well, we wish you best of luck with it all then, Dan. Thank you
Best
for being with us
Dan.
today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Dan Gosling there, the former Bournemouth midfielder then who worked with Eddie Howe down on the South Coast too. Really interesting as well, very quickly before we get another update from Rupert Ball, when we talk about is it too soon for Eddie Howe, and you mentioned it when you brought us a stat earlier on, 670 games.
Yeah, long time.
Actually a long
been
time.
Coaching
a
long time. We'll come on to that now as well in a minute about improving players. Because can you improve top-class international players? Can you improve them? Yeah. That's interesting what Dan said there. He wants to improve players.
Yeah.
So we'll have a chat about that.
Okay.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.